Coming up in a few minutes, it is time for a Chicago #Bears mailbag. Get your questions in by super chatting or using #Bears. But do want to kick off this show by talking about an matchup in this Week 1 game that I don't think has been heavily discussed. Definitely not on this show. So I wanted to spend some time on it today as we dive into a key matchup. And it's not a position matchup; it's a coaching matchup, and that is Ben Johnson, the Bears head coach and play caller, versus Brian Flores, the Vikings defensive coordinator and defensive play caller. Ben Johnson, the last 2 years since Flores entered the NFC North with the Vikings, 2023, 2024, Ben Johnson's had his number 4-0 against Flores, and not just from a win-loss standpoint. Look at these results as in 2023 in Week 16, the Lions dropped 30 points and almost 400 yards. Same thing in Week 18. It's kind of, the numbers are eerily similar. It's kind of bizarre. 30 or 31 points in all four of the matchups in between 381 and 400 yards in all four of these games. He has been very lethal and very productive against Brian Flores in the four matchups. Now, listen, it's a different deal, obviously. He's the head coach now, new team. But even more context here, Ben Johnson has delivered 4 of the 7 performances in which Flores and the Vikings have given up 30 or more points in the last 2 seasons. That's over half. So this has been a on-field X's and O's masterclass by Ben Johnson in Detroit, which obviously is now in Chicago, going up against Minnesota and Brian Flores. Even more so, Dan Orlovsky added this today. Ben Johnson's offense hung 122 points in 4 games against Brian Flores the last 2 years. 16 touchdowns, 14 punts. So he's finding the end zone more than he's punting. That would be fun in Chicago. That's why you hire Ben Johnson, because we haven't had an offense like this. And listen, the disclaimer is obviously new personnel. He's also the head coach now, which means he has a lot of other responsibilities. So I'm not necessarily saying book the Bears for 30 points and 385 yards. What I am saying, though, is he has found solutions against Brian Flores' blitz-heavy scheme, an exotic scheme, which not many teams and coaches have over the last couple of years. So I do feel good about that he has experience going up against this guy and has had a lot of success. I want to know from you guys, though. You predicting 30-plus? Will the Bears score 30-plus points against the Vikings? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Full disclosure, I am not predicting 30-plus points. If the Bears score 30, I think they're going to win this game. I'll tell you that. But I do feel like Ben will scheme things up that are in position to beat Flores in the defense, and it's just up to Caleb in the offense to execute those specific play calls. So definitely excited about that. All right, mailbag questions here. We start with Avery with the super chat. Sweat has been a Pro Bowler recently, and Dexter could take that step. Yeah, I think Javon Dexter is one of the young players on this team. Year 3 for a defensive lineman often is like that year where you see that big jump. I think the scheme suits him better. I think he could be in line for a big, big season in Dennis Allen's defense. We got Daily AI here. He says, if the Bears win 5 or 6 games, it'll be a failed season. A lot of accountability needs to happen. What would that look like? If the Bears win 5 or 6 games, I think a couple of things would have had to have happened. 1, Caleb just flopped. That would be one scenario. 2, Caleb got hurt and Bagent couldn't win enough games. 3, you just had a ton of injuries, just like detrimental injuries, and you just got buried. 4, I mean, I guess something coaching related, but like I feel pretty confident in this coaching staff. I don't think we're going to be looking at these games and if they lose and being like, God, that was a coaching disaster class. Doesn't mean there won't be mistakes and bad play calls and, a situational mistake here and there, but I don't think this is going to be a Matt Eberflus situation where like he doesn't even know how to call a timeout. But yeah, I think that if they only win 5 or 6, that probably means that Caleb didn't take the proper steps and the defense wasn't as good as we thought it could be. So, which is, would be different from last year, but similar in terms of wins and losses. All right, today's show is sponsored by the Hall of Fame app. Check it out today. Make smarter bets. Use code CHAT for a discount. We'll tell you about that discount in a second. Football is back, and I don't know about you, but there's nothing worse than barely losing on a multi-team parlay. That happened to me in week 0 of the college football season, but I teamed back up with the HOF app, and I had a much better week 1 of the college football season, looking to carry that over into this weekend as well. Smart bettors rely on data, and the HOF app hands you powerful analytics at your fingertips to tilt the odds in your favor. HOF is your go-to for building smarter parlays. No more missing by one leg, as HOF gives you all the probabilities and insights you need to succeed. The HOF app was created by Ivy League sports geeks to let everyday sports fans bet smarter. With a 4.9 rating in the App Store on over 7,000 reviews, it's safe to say the 1 million total users and counting are benefiting from the HOF app. For a limited time only, our listeners not only get a 7-day free trial, but they also get 50% off their first month when they use code CHAT at checkout. Just download the HOF app on iOS or Android today. Enter code CHAT and you are all set. That is code CHAT, C-H-A-T. Link to download the app in the comments and description of this video. Check out the HOF app right now. All right, we got time for some more questions. Posey says, appreciate the 10. Appreciate all the super chats. Well, 5 or 6 games dropping the games 28-35. I don't know what you're saying here. Remember, Detroit had to score a bunch of points to win. Caleb can throw for 4,030 touchdowns, but team only win 8 or 9 games. Yeah, like, look, if they go 8-9 and it's obvious Caleb took a step forward and maybe the defense just underachieved, I would rather go 8-9 with the defense underachieving than the offense underachieving. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you told me by the end of the year Caleb's the guy, I'm not saying nothing else matters, but that is the most important thing that matters. Daniel Lawson saw Zach Banner played for the Houston Roughnecks per Penn Live. Lost 70 pounds in a bid to get back in the NFL. Yeah, if you're watching later, we're live on Thursday doing this mailbag. Zach Banner was among 11 Bears tryouts, has not played in the NFL since 2021. Worked out, former Steelers offensive tackle. So certainly a name that caught my attention. Hopefully this thumbnail catches your attention, because if you see this on your YouTube feed come Monday night, that's us. We are live for Bears versus Vikings Monday Night Football. We'll go live at the latest 6 o'clock Central Time to get you ready for kickoff. Might even do 5:30, 5:45. Myself, producer Cullen, we're jacked up for week 1. We'll get you ready for kickoff. We'll have some raffle opportunities, live play-by-play reaction, and, of course, our post-game show as well. Do not miss out. Bears, Vikings, week 1. You see this thumbnail, you're in the right place. Subscribe. You'll see this pop up on your feed. All right, Marcus, $5. Appreciate it. Has Dennis Allen ever gone against the Vikings? How do you think he will match up against the Vikings? Coach, FGBF, the Vikings. I will look at the Saints' schedule since Kevin O'Connell has been the head coach in Minnesota, and we will have some prep on that for the pregame show at the latest, but maybe on a video before kickoff as well, because that's a good question. I don't think they played last year, so I'll have to look into that, but I'm sure chances are they've played since KOC's been the coach, so stay tuned. We will have more on that. DC Viper, assuming the Bears wait till the trade deadline, which do you think is a higher need, left tackle or edge, or will the Bears just play it out? I still think it's edge. Like, I think with the rest of that offensive line, and especially Joe Thuney playing next to the left tackle, I think you can get by there. I'm not convinced this edge group's very good. I'm hopeful Montez Sweat bounces back, but even if he does, I don't expect him to be a dominant week-in and week-out player. I have no idea what Dio Adengbo is going to give this team. Hopefully he's at least solid. Austin Booker's on IR. Dominic Robinson is healthy, I guess, so that's good. But if he's your third guy, I'm not feeling great about that. Is Daniel Hardy kind of a surprise guy that could help? Hopefully. But, yeah, I think it's edge, whether it's like getting a starting caliber player or at least raising the depth in terms of the floor of that group. Predict the score, Bears-Vikings Monday night. Who wins and what is the final score? I want to hear you light up the chat on that one. So curious what you guys think. Super chat from Larry. Appreciate the 5. Do you think Shamar Turner could be a defensive end and be the pass rusher we need? Well, that was something I wondered on draft night, because early on at Texas A&M, he played defensive end. Then they kicked him inside. Dennis Allen did say after the draft that the initial focus is for him to learn both defensive tackle positions. So and especially with him getting hurt in camp and missing most of camp, if that's part of their plans, you almost would say that's probably not really going to happen this year. Maybe it could happen next year or late in the season. But I do think he's got the body type to move around. He's kind of like 290, 295. He's long, he's athletic, so I do think you could move him around. But I don't think they want to like throw too much on the rookie's plate right now. So I wouldn't anticipate that. Now, if you had a couple in-game injuries and he's active and you just need a guy who's done it before, like, yeah, you could play him in a pinch, but I don't think they're like looking into that as part of his like heavy development, at least currently. All right, last one here. Appreciate the 5. Great questions today. Hypergenesis, if Braxton goes down, does Wright shift over to left tackle and Trapilla at right tackle? FGBF Minnesota, F Detroit, Bears win 31-16. I don't think so, because if that was a backup plan, wouldn't Darnell Wright have gotten some reps at left tackle? To my knowledge, he has gotten 0 reps at left tackle in training camp. If that was kind of like plan B or C, I think you would have had to give him at least like, reps here and there on the left side. I think the bigger question is it Benedict or Trebillo if Braxton were to go down in the middle of a game? If it happened like in a practice, then I think, they would take some time to consider. If it happened, let's just say it happened Monday night, I would guess they'd go Benedict because he's listed as the backup left tackle. He was working a lot at left tackle, especially toward the end of camp, whereas Trapillo was not. If it happened like in the middle of the week, I could see them ramping Ozzie back up at left tackle and kind of seeing who they want to go with, but I do not think it would be Darnell Wright. That I feel pretty confident in. All right, appreciate all the questions. If you got more, you know where to find me. Twitter, Instagram, at HGramNFL. Give me a follow. DMs are open. Always down to chop it up with you guys. So hit me up over there and bear down.